and we are going to record this. Hey, Matt, you got in.
Recording.
Good evening, folks. We're going to wait till 7:01 just to get people who come in. Matt, you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Just do a mic check here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm JT Foster, and welcome to our town hall, Connecticut River Academy's town hall tonight. Just a couple of norms. Please remain muted and use the chat feature for questions. We'll collect your responses as we go. Respond as we go. I'm JT Foster. I'm the principal. Wendy Peterson will be joining us. She's the assistant principal. We're joined tonight by Matt Dodona, who is the assistant superintendent of Pathways and Partnerships for Connecticut River Academy and Goodwin University Magnet Schools. We are also joined by Wendy Gavin, who is the early college theme coach, who's been doing this for the last 12 years. So tonight's a very special town hall. It's about our early college opportunities, which have expanded this year. Well, for the next school year, the 22-23 school year. So what's new? Here's what we've always offered. We've always had, for the last 12 years, the early college option, which is just general studies, which we will now call liberal arts. We're adding some classes to it, but the liberal arts pathways is how we got started in the early college pathway. 7 years ago, we had added the advanced manufacturing, and what's coming next year is we're adding a computer science, business, and healthcare pathway. So I'm going to turn it over now to Matt Dodona, who can tell you a little bit more about that, and Wendy Gavin and I will jump in as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you, JT. Well, good evening, everybody. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule today to join us and talk about some of the exciting opportunities for our scholars at CTRA. So when we built out the 5 pathways that we're going to be offering for next year, it's really based on a lot of different feedback, not only from our scholars, from our teachers, but then I do a lot of work outside of our district and do a lot of research in terms of the trends, what's coming, and then what are some of the things that we need to be preparing our students for as they enter college or their post-secondary plans. So one of the things that we really wanted to do was to offer some different options and really personalize some of those pathways that are available to our students. And so, as you may know, Goodwin University has our sibling university is University of Bridgeport. And so we're looking forward to be able to, in addition to being able to offer the Goodwin University credit, we're also going to be offering some University Bridgeport credit for some future classes there. Wendy can talk a little bit more about some of the college resources, but she's done it, and her team have done an incredible job with being able to support the students as they transition into taking those college level courses by providing a college study course with them, and then also having access to a lot of the support at the university. As I mentioned, we're really going to have that personalized option to be able to opt into one of those pathways. And we really make sure that through the counselors, the teachers, advisory, to make sure that the scholars are supported so that they're able to handle the course load and they're challenged in their appropriate way.
I think one of the things to add, Matt, is that next year, in addition to the early college pathways, which will the 5 college pathways, we're also for the first year having AP credit courses and pre-AP credit courses.
Absolutely. Thank you for talking about that. So I'll certainly mention we have the AP computer science course that we're going to be including next year. And then JT, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to have the pre-AP English, correct?
And pre-AP bio.
Yep.
and also AP World History. So let's go on to the first pathway.
Sounds good. So our first pathway is one that you all know and love. It's something we've been doing for a long time at CTRA. We just kind of put a new title on it. So it's, it's our early college pathway or our liberal arts pathway. And students in this pathway are able to take some dual enrollment courses where they're in their sorry, let me pause there for a second. So we kind of just we redid the pathway a little bit to streamline it and to offer more of a clear step for each student at their appropriate grade level. And so you can see we have listed here out the courses. And these pages here, just for your reference too, are taken directly from the pathway, or I'm sorry, the program of studies. So you'll be able to access these on our website and be able to see these if you need some more detail or need to go back to them. So within the liberal arts pathway, you'll see we put it as 3 years. We didn't want to put it as freshman, sophomore, junior. So these 3 years that are highlighted here are really your sophomore, junior, and senior year. But we recognize that scholars may access the pathway at different points in their time with us. So we didn't want to just label as sophomores or just label as juniors. That's why we put year 1, 2, and 3. And so that year 1 pathway will be an accelerated English. We talked about that pre-AP English, and then taking that English 099 course, which would be taught at CTRA by a CTRA teacher that also has the understanding of the curriculum offered at the university. In year 2, their students are then accessing the Goodwin University curriculum. It's still taught again by a CTRA teacher. And so we thought this was really important to be able to offer a college level curriculum and course in rigor, but doing it with a teacher that is able to work with them and support them in the way that they need. And then finally, in their senior year, they would then transition over and be taking the rest of their high school credits while also accessing courses on the Goodwin University campus with Goodwin professors. And we really left it open. Yeah, no, sorry, go ahead, JT.
No, I just want to clarify something. So the accelerated English that we're offering, so if you have if you're the parent of a freshman and next year they're selecting their English course, they have a choice of choosing accelerated English, which is the pre-AP English, or they can take the traditional English 10. And if you're taking English 10, you would then sign up for English 099, which is your college prep class. But if you're taking the accelerated English, you do not need to take the English 099. Just a clarification on that.
Thank you.
And so if you're doing the liberal arts pathway, this just shows you in your junior and senior year what your classes could look like in terms of the pathway would look like. The other class you'd be taking as a junior: chemistry, Spanish, college study, algebra 2, and then in green is the Goodwin classes.
So what I want to say to add to this conversation about the liberal arts pathway is that we work with the scholars to personalize their courses in terms of where they're headed when they graduate. So if some of them are working really hard to get as many transferable credits because they want to go to a 4-year college somewhere else. So we work with them to choose the courses that would be what they call general education courses that they need to take in their freshman year at college. And they take those courses. Some of the scholars want to kind of experiment maybe with a criminal justice class because they're thinking about criminal justice. Or some of them are thinking about business. So they're going to take some of their business courses, which could be transferable also, but also they're getting that experience of, do I really want to do this major when I get to college, which is helpful. Very often our scholars that start the program in their junior year end up entering college, a 4-year college, as a sophomore in their second year, because that's how many of the credits transfer.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. Matt, you want to talk about advanced manufacturing pathway?
I would love to. So this is our second pathway. And again, one that we've been doing for a number of years now. This pathway for next year really is just a reflection of responding to where our scholars are at and making sure that they have the right skills and abilities in order to be successful in the college level courses. And so this is similar to what we've been doing for the last 2 years. We refined the courses that they're accessing in their sophomore year, or we call that year one entry point. And so you can see we've brought back there the Exploring Manufacturing Technology course. So that's meant to be more of a hands-on course. It's going to give them the foundational measurement, CNCs, some really basic introduction, and to get them excited about entering into the advanced manufacturing pathway. And there's a tremendous amount of opportunities in advanced manufacturing. I could spend a whole nother town hall talking about that. There's over 5,000 jobs here in Connecticut. Oh, sorry, was there a question?
And get ready to take your oath.
I think someone's gonna, if you could mute, that's it. Thank you, Matt.
No problem. And then if there are questions, feel free to put those in the chat and we can get to those. And so you can see here in year one, we have that Exploring Manufacturing Technology, and then that BMM 100, which is our introduction to manufacturing. Those would take place in year one or the sophomore year. Both of those are taught by our teacher, Mr. David Mangus is the one that's teaching it this year, and will be joining us again next year for that. And then year two, or their junior year, they're taking our manufacturing math course as well as technical drawing. And then finally, in their senior year, you can see those higher level courses. They'll be taking those in the Business Technology and Advanced Manufacturing Center with Goodwin professors. So we try to keep that consistent format where they're staying with a CTRA teacher in their sophomore or in junior years, or that year one and year two. And then by the time they get to their senior or year three, they're accessing the college courses in the college setting. And one big thing too that we're going to be adding for next year is being able to create work experiences for our scholars. And so whether that be a job shadow, where they're able to kind of just be out there in the workforce, see what it looks and feels and tastes like, and then internships, and then for some of our scholars, they'll be able to access actually pre-apprenticeships. So they'll truly get a feel for the career that they're interested in. And this will be for the advanced manufacturing, business, computer science, and healthcare pathways. And so you can see here again, we try to keep that consistent format, and you can see how it's all laid out year by year. And again, this is taken directly from the program of studies.
And just for this graphic, I just want to say that we're also in this graphics trying to show you what scholars are taking. They also have to meet their Connecticut state graduation requirements. So we're showing you how the college courses kind of mix in with that.
Okay, thank you. So the next pathway that's new is the first new one is business, Matt.
Yep. And so we've had a number of scholars over the years, I think as Wendy mentioned earlier, that have taken business courses at CTRA. And so we wanted to be able to kind of firm that up and formalize that offering. This is a big need. We did a survey at the beginning of the year with the students, and the business was one of the most popular options to add. And so you can see this truly is going to be a partnership with Goodwin and with University of Bridgeport, being able to bring together a variety of courses to offer different experiences to our scholars and really build not only business courses, but then we're also looking at, for future years, potentially incorporating some entrepreneurship courses as well. And so you can see in year one, we have a personal finance component, which I think is great for all scholars. I think, a lot of people, when they get out of college or when they get, out of high school and they start working, they have to figure out credit and loans and rent and insurance and all these things. That's a heavy lift for a lot of people. And so having that personal finance will certainly help prepare them for some of those things that they may not be thinking of. And what does it mean to invest? And, how can you think about retirement for one day? From there, it's more of a survey course about business, learning more about, what is this thing that we call business? It's such a general term. We really wanted to try and make that clear for the scholars so that they can better understand what does it mean to be a business major or pursue a career in that. And then from there, we go into some of the college level courses. We thought it was important to include an accounting. It's all about the numbers, right? So making sure that you get those in there. And we also wanted in their senior year, you can see more and more are in industry and business, whatever it is, manufacturing, insurance, our world is more global. And so we want our scholars to be able to, oh, sure. So the customer relations. So that's kind of what I'm speaking to, Yanni. So really it's about how do you function in a global business, right? So many of whether it's manufacturing or insurance, it's dealing with people from other country. You may have a colleague or another worker in another country that you're working with. It's about the communication, some of those norms that are there, and how do you work together, not only with employees, but then customers in a global setting. And then we also wanted to include some marketing in that. And again, here you can see how we have it laid out here. And one thing I wanted to note here too is we put in, you may notice, thanks, Yanni. You may notice the key logo, and that's what we're calling our gateway course. Wendy, do you want to help explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I can explain what we call the gateway course. So we are trying to encourage, for example, as many students that might be interested in personal finance to sign up for it if they think they might be interested in the business pathway. But once they're there, we want them to excel in that class and enjoy it in order to move on, to continue on the pathway. So that course, that gateway course, is the first introduction to each pathway has one, and there'll be a grade requirement, a B or better to move on, to continue on the pathway, or teacher recommendation. Sometimes scholars might start off slow and then get really into it. So there's room for a teacher to say, you know what, this student really improved and really wants to do this now, so they can move on. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that aspect.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yeah.
All right. And our this is a pathway now. We're in our second year of our computer science courses that we've been able to offer. Next year is the first time that we're, again, formalizing some of that work that we're already doing. And so each year that we've had computer science, we've added a course. So we started out with just an intro to computer science and robotics. This year, we're offering intro to computer science and advanced computer science and robotics. And then next school year, we've expanded it out once again, and we're offering that advanced placement, AP, computer science principles. And then in the following year, we're going to be offering that next level computer science course, which is AP CSA. And so you can see, again, we've laid out that pathway, and we wanted to give our scholars really a lot of different options here. And so we have that intro to computer science robotics course. And then in the second half of the year, we're going to be doing a web design course. And we're really excited that the teacher that we have for computer science, Priya Rajagopal, is phenomenal. She's done a lot of great work and has a history of teaching web design. She has a background in electronics engineering and computer science. And so she brings a lot of great skills to the table. And then from there, in their junior or year two, there's that AP course, and then also accessing a pre-calc for college credit. And then finally, in their senior or year three, we're going to be adding in the AP Computer Science A, which is a higher level computer science course. And again, depending on how they do on their AP exam, that may earn them college credit at their institution that they pursue and for post-secondary.
So we have some good questions, Matt.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, and some of the questions are about if they enter into one pathway,
Yep.
and they have some interest in the other pathways, can they take some courses in those other pathways? And the answer is absolutely yes to that. So for example, we're doing course selection right now. We're starting with students. And so a student is really interested in the computer science, but she's going to do the a little bit of the liberal arts and take that AP computer science course. We have scholars that might take the personal finance, but they might be interested in the computer science or the manufacturing. I think what happens as they get into their senior year, they're really, if they're really into their pathway, there might not be room to add other courses in there. There potentially could be, but it depends how intense they want to do it. Because if they're doing an internship or apprenticeship and they're going to a work site and that type of thing, they might not be able to fit those in. But as we're working right now with freshmen and sophomores, we're really trying to, we're meeting with them individually and really trying to personalize what their interests are. And we're trying to help them really define what their interests are. So if they say they really like math, we're kind of saying maybe you could try a course in business, maybe you could try a computer science course. So we're letting them kind of make some choices based on their strengths and their interests. And then the other question, Matt, is
hang on before we jump. Yeah, sorry. Before we jump on the questions, I just wanted to finish up on that one. Being at a comprehensive high school, I think it's important to be able to experience some different options, and so I would certainly encourage that. It's part of the reason why you come to a comprehensive high school.
So Matt, this question is, does robotics deal with more commercial robots, or is it limited only to VEX robotics?
That's a great question. And so in the intro course, we certainly use the VEX as an introductory platform. We find that's a great way to teach our scholars about, some of the basics of robotics. We in our center do have industrial level automation equipment that we will be exposing the scholars to, not only in the computer science course, but also in that exploring manufacturing technology course, the industrial automation, what's also called mechatronics, that will be a part of that course as well. And we recognize that that's a big part of where manufacturing is right now, and certainly where it's going to be heading. And so we're planning on offering more of that industrial automation in the future classes.
Okay. So another question is, can current 10th grade students enter into one of these pathways for next year? And the answer is yes to that. They would be entering in at that year one. So, which is so the current 10th graders will be 11th graders. So they can start taking those courses that are gateway courses into their interest, and they might not get to the year 3, but they can enter in now for the pathway that they're interested in. And then we do have chemistry. Chemistry is basically a required science class for 11th graders. We have chemistry, we have environmental chemistry. So our 11th graders take that course. And then Mr. Foster might want to answer this question about where did it go?
There's the one about the environmental science.
Yeah, that, okay, school used to have some environmental science. Is that concentration still viable?
So we have the environmental science as a magnet theme, and we have environmental science electives. It's not an early college pathway because Goodwin does not have the early college, does not have a major in environmental science. But we as a magnet school are still environmental science. We have our riverboat, we have our 9 laboratories, our green roof, and we still have classes in that area. But they'd be electives, and they only be high school electives. They wouldn't be dual credit.
And then I want to, somebody was saying, I think they meant biology instead of chemistry. So scholars take biology in their 10th grade year. And then in in their senior year, if they've entered into the health care pathway or the liberal arts pathway, or really any pathway, honestly, they can take a biology lab science at Goodwin. So it's biology. It could be biology 120, 121, which is a really rigorous college level science course, which I recommend for scholars that want to, go into nursing or any kind of science, because it really gives them a feel for the intensity of how much work that is. And then we're also going to be offering biology at the college level that isn't quite as intense for scholars who might not want to take on something so rigorous. So they take the bio in 10th grade, and then they can also take a college level bio when they get to be seniors. Hope that answers your question. Oh, she got it. Okay.
And somebody had asked the question about, can they enter in their sophomore or junior year, or can they try out different pathways? And we really tried to, we're going to be coming out with some of the terminology around, there was really 3 different access levels within the pathways. And so there's a participant, which a participant is someone that's taken 2 or 3 courses within a pathway. We have our completers. Those are the ones that have taken all of the courses that we've laid out for you tonight. And then we also have, we're finalizing this term, right? But our accelerators, our exemplars, our professionals, those are the ones that have taken all of the pathway courses, but then also access that internship or that apprenticeship. And they know that they're going to go and enter a career in healthcare or computer science, advanced manufacturing, and they want to take full advantage of everything that we have to offer at CTRA.
And then I just want to kind of give you all some examples of how really hard the school counselors are working to really work with your scholar and make this as personal as possible. And for example, I had a meeting with a student today about he's really has some really strong math grades and scores, and not so strong in other places. And he never really thought about, oh, my math is my strength. So he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's only a freshman, but so I'm saying to him, like, how about if you consider a major here, a pathway that has a math focus, like a computer science or a business. And so I went through it with him, and he was really kind of interested in the business. So he's going to enter into that next year. We have a scholar that is in the liberal arts pathway already with me, and she also is interested in advanced manufacturing. So she's working with me to say, how can I do both things? How can I take some courses at Goodwin and finish my pathway in advanced manufacturing? So what I would like to do for the parents who are here is I'm going to put my email address into the chat, so that if you want me to give you a call, or you want to meet, even if we did it virtually with your son or daughter and myself, and kind of talk about this, because we are in the process of course selection right now. I'm going to put my email address, so that if you wanted to be a part of that or have a conversation with me about it, we can do that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gavin. So Matt, the final new pathway is the healthcare pathway. Do you want to talk about that?
I would love to. So again, the healthcare pathway is something we've been hearing about for a long time, something our scholars have been looking for. And so we're excited to be able to offer that next year. And so we created a couple of new courses to be able to offer. So in that year 1 or sophomore timeframe, they'll have access to Human Anatomy 1 and 2. You may also hear an Anatomy and Physiology. Some schools call it different things, but it's gonna be very similar to a course like that, and really preparing the scholars to enter into a medical pathway. And really we kept it as healthcare because we wanted to keep it broad, right? And so yes, in their year 3 or senior year, we have the CNA, Certified Nurse Aide course, and clinical hours. That's part of it. And so why we call it healthcare and not CNA is really because that CNA is a door opening certification, right? So that certification can lead to higher certifications, but if a student is interested in nursing, RN, LPRN, even as a doctor, many of those programs require that you have a certain number of clinical hours before you're even considered for a program or admitted into a program. And so this pathway within the school allows the students to get those clinical hours before they enter into a post-secondary program. We are also looking at the potential of offering an MA, a medical assisting, but more to come on that. So the current pathway for healthcare, you can see in year 2, we've got the medical law and ethics, and then a medical terminology course. This will be offered for credit. And then in their senior year, there's a CNA course, a certified nurse's aid course, in addition to those clinical hours where they'd be off working in a nursing home and working with patients to support them and really getting a feel for what a career as a CNA or as a nurse would look like. And again, you can see here we have that all laid out, and you can see that the significant amount of hours that are put in their senior year for the clinical hours. They need to participate in at least 100 hours of clinical to be able to meet that.
Okay, so those are the 5 new pathways, or the 5 pathways, 3 new ones. And the next steps, as Ms. Gavin said, is we're in the process of registering scholars, the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders for next year's courses. So if you've had a conversation with your scholars about it, or with the advisory teacher last week during student-led conferences, that's a great first step. Checking with your scholar, having that conversation about, is there a specific pathway that they're interested in, or that they have the skills that they want to pursue. With that, we'll come back to questions. You can reach out to Miss Gavin, as she said, but also depending on which class your scholar's in, you can reach out to their school counselors. So Mr. Edwards is for this year's freshmen and sophomores. Ms. Ruthier is for
she's gonna have she has the present juniors.
who will be next year's seniors. And Mr. Foreign will have actually this year's.
He's working with the 10th graders that are going into 11th.
Thank you for clarifying that. So, and Miss Gavin, you can always reach, and she's the director of school counseling as well as our early college theme coach. So these people can help you make sure your scholar gets on the right path. But do we have any questions at this point? Any additional questions? All right, if not, we're going to hang on a little longer, but that's our presentation for tonight. Just to summarize, we have our traditional 2 pathways. The liberal arts is the traditional, what scholars have been doing for the last 12 years. 7 years ago, we started the advanced manufacturing. Next year, we're adding the computer science pathway, the medical pathway, and the business pathway. In addition to that, we're also adding pre-AP and AP courses. The pre-AP courses we're calling accelerated. So it's accelerated English and accelerated biology. And the AP courses will be AP World History for 10th graders, AP Computer Science as well.
Mr. Foster, there's a question. Is there any interest after school clubs reopening? Are we going to have any after school activities? I don't know if that means now or next year.
Next year, yeah. This year, we're right now doing an open gym as long as they have permission slips. We have our flex block where a lot of things are happening. Literally with the COVID restrictions being rolled back about 2 weeks ago, we have been doing more things after school, but in terms of the clubs per se, like National Honor Society and UN, Model UN, those things are picking back up. Is there a specific club you're talking about? Next year, we expect to have everything that we had pre-pandemic happening after school. And for now, we're using our flex block to help keep those clubs alive and grow them next year as well.
We do have specialized ones. There's a advanced manufacturing one where the students kind of access a maker space, if you will, at our center. We also have a coding club. So we really try
Girls
to.
Who Code, yeah, which is our fastest growing club is Girls Who Code. And they did our magnet theme day this year. And they just won awards, like 6 awards. So that's pretty amazing.
Oh, good question, Allie. So yes, we are going to be doing another summer program this year. This year this is hot off the press. This isn't out there yet. So sneak preview for everybody on the call tonight. So we're going to be doing a summer program this year. It'll be another 2-week program, and the scholars are going to be challenged to participate in Sea Perch. And Sea Perch is a program where the scholars can build underwater robots that are autonomously controlled, and then they'll have to design and build them to complete an underwater course. And our theme this year, going along with the sustainability, is to be able to do a simulated ocean cleanup. So they'll have to navigate an underwater course, pick up, a plastic bag, a plastic bottle, and then successfully return that to a bin. And so we'll be offering that definitely to our CTRA scholars, and then open to students in other schools as well. So we look forward to offering that experience again this year. It'll be a 2-week. We're just going to do a half-day program this year. So, roughly from 8 to 11:30 or 9 to 11:30, somewhere in that time frame, and then for 2 full weeks. I don't have dates yet on that. More information to come, and I will be sending out a flyer through School Messenger, so you'll all see that. We're trying to finalize those dates. There will be some coding aspect of it built into that, because there is some programming that they do on the robots. But I don't have plans right now for any specific coding programs. Oh, JT, do you see that one? For the high school musical, is a musical rock or pop or both?
I think it's both. Actually, I don't know if it's rock. I think it's pop. It's next Friday. The musical is next Friday and Saturday, April 1st and 2nd.
And if families wanted to learn more about that, was there information that was sent home, or is that?
Yeah, I sent out an email this morning. We'll be sending out, I sent out a school messenger this morning with information about the tickets. I will be sending out more stuff at the end of the week as well.
Awesome.
And I think in what Ms. Testa sent out last week in a school newsletter, it had information about the play as well.
I appreciate all the questions. I can see that you're all in the right spot, and I'm excited to be able to continue and make these offerings for your scholars that join us.
If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me. I'm JT Foster, principal is JT Foster at ctriveracademy.org. And Matt Dodona, M Dodona, spell it, Matt.
Yep, MDADONA. And so I'm putting it in the chat right now as well. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions about the pathways, or your scholar's interested in something, or your child, right? They're scholars to us, child to you. If they're interested, feel free to reach out.
All right, I'll hang on for anyone else who wants questions, has any questions.
Hold on, there's a few more questions. Do seniors get any help finding any manufacturing jobs after graduating?
Yeah, so our scholars complete 21 credits in advanced manufacturing in their senior year. If they choose to participate, we will have a pre-apprenticeship opportunity for them, and so they're actually earning apprenticeship hours that can count towards their apprenticeship certification. And then from there, they have the option, they can go on, they can continue their education at Goodwin or another college to further their learning in advanced manufacturing, or they also have the opportunity of accessing our college career services. And we actually, that's part of the courses in their senior year at the university. They bring in career services. They can certainly access that department on campus, and they're able to help them find some part-time jobs. And I think too, what we're hoping is going to happen is that through accessing these internships, a lot of those companies are hopefully, they're bringing a student on for an internship, hoping that they'll continue on after graduation. So we're really hoping that experience helps them find employment after graduation as well.
Could you please, could you please email the presentation with the pathways and AP classes? Thank you.
We will.
And then this recording will be available too for folks, right, JT?
Yes.